Let's think forward through that process now, because you and us both went through the same challenges. Okay, this whole approach of zero trust DNS, meaning that there is no IPv6 or IPv4 address that I can connect to unless it was first allowed and resolved by DNS. That turned out to be not necessarily a new idea, but for the first time that it was actually implemented, when we did it and you did it independently, as far as I understand, right? Like, I did not know of you, you did not know of us, and we focused in different areas. We did it at the gateway, and you did it at a Windows endpoint. How soon did you realize all the stuff that would be broken?
Right away. Even at idea conception, as I started talking with people internally about, I think this is where we need to be going for various reasons. That was the very first feedback I got is, do you have any idea how unworkable this is? And that's been a steady, regular source of feedback is, this is ludicrous, right? It's never going to work at scale. And the truth is it will, but it is certainly breaking a lot of things that we used to do, and that we should be rethinking. I have decks and decks and decks of going through examples of, which is why also, as documented by Microsoft in the preview disclosures, that there is a way to configure CIDRs with specific intents to say this CIDR is required by this program because, so that it can be logged and segmented by a name the same way that you would as a domain name. But not as much as people think. If anything, it's kind of nice because it does break a lot of things. And turning the question around, do you have any idea what your endpoints and networks are doing?
Right.
Because it's a lot. And when you implement Don't Talk to Strangers or ZTDNS for the first time in enforcement mode, sunlight on all these shadows that you're like, oh my goodness, what is this application? What is this endpoint? It's a good thing in the long run, even if it's scary up front. But yeah, I very first prototyped ZTDNS as a proof of concept as part of the planning process. And the very first version was definitely an eye-opener of like, what is that component doing? Why does this program do that? Yeah, very eye-opening.
I have to tell you, my earliest experience was when Internet Explorer was still the dominant browser. To me, what was the most discouraging part of that was that IE had no consistency in honoring time to live. And one of the core principles of what we wanted to do was to collapse the outbound allow rule that had been created and then only leave it open for the period of time to live. When we did that, we broke even a regular website that did not have any JavaScript code referencing by IP, but because the browser was hanging on to the cache. Maybe it was originated with good intent back in the day when caching as long and as often as possible was maybe a good strategy. But then when Chrome and Chromium based browsers started to trend up very rapidly around that same time, we said, oh, there's hope here. This might work as long as we minimize dependency on IE. And so that was our first experience.